IMDb describes it as, after being a victim of fraud, Johnny Rose and his family go from extremely wealthy to penniless overnight. The only asset left to them is a small, unsophisticated town, Schitt Creek, and a reasonably sized family painting. They relocated there. Culture shock ensues, which is both an accurate description and a criminal undersell of what this show actually is, because Schitt Creek isn't just about losing money, it's about also losing the armor that money gives you, and then finding out who you actually are without it. And the clothes, as we are going to get into, are doing a lot of that work quite brilliantly. Now, the show's creators, Dan Levy especially, they were very open about the restrictive budget that they had, which meant a lot of shopping from op shops, pre-loved websites, sample sales. And I think that's kind of perfect, actually. Not the being broke bit. I know how that feels, and it's not fun, especially when designer brands are raising prices like inflation is a blanket excuse for everything, or a personal challenge they've accepted, but the circular fashion bit, very much here for it. I think I saw it in Vogue. There was great praise for the show's use of actual designer fashion rather than the usual TV shorthand for wealth. You know, LV monogram or damier print, the Gigi Supreme, the Barocco print. Throw in a Juste un Clou Cartier love bracelets or Rolex, Van Cleef & Arpels necklace, and if you're feeling generous, a Birkin. And congratulations, you have signaled a rich person without saying a single interesting thing about them. Schitt Creek is not doing that. The clothes are actually doing character work, and that's rare enough to sort of talk about. Quick note, I originally filmed this in early 2024. I didn't love how it all came about, had some audio issues and shelved it and went back to my life. And normally my 9 to 5 takes over, and then 2026 decided to be what it is, rotted. And on the 30th of January, we learned that Catherine O'Hara had sadly passed. And I still can't quite believe that that's a sentence I'm saying, but here we are. Welcome back to my little fashion corner. In these videos I talk about fashion appearing in TV shows, streaming series, movies, and I'm debating including red carpet looks. Thoughts in the comments please, with the hope that if you're currently looking for something and trying to figure out your personal style, or just mere curiosity as to what they worn in the show, this might be somewhat useful. Or entertaining, who even knows. All of this is brought to you by my extended relationship with Google search and copious amount of caffeine and running out of ways how to effortlessly work fashion into real-life conversation with my people. One thing I noticed about Schitt Creek that genuinely made me happy, outfits or fashion items reappear. The same item shows up across multiple episodes, sometimes multiple seasons. They aren't perpetuating the stereotype or the idea of only wear an outfit once, which not only makes sense for the storyline here. These people have lost everything, they're wearing what they've got, what they saved at the very last minute, but it's also a quiet argument for re-wearing clothes being not only fine, but beyond that, the storytelling through costume on this show is just impeccable. The clothes do not just support the characters, they communicate their emotional state. Mostly denial, sure, but very well dressed denial. And for obvious reasons, I'm going to start with the woman in charge, Moira Rose. Again, I still can't believe that I'm talking about her in the context of someone we've lost. Catherine O'Hara was extraordinary in this role.
Oh, hello you! I'm film and television's Moira Rose. Won't you join me for a little stroll through the slice of paradise I like to call the town where I currently am?
One of those performances where I genuinely cannot imagine anyone else in it, because it stops feeling like a performance about 30 seconds into the show. She was just Moira. The accent, the wigs, the dramatic pauses that could silence a room, and that all came from O'Hara herself. She's talked about how she pitched the distinct accent and pronunciation directly to the Levys, how she saw Moira before even the script fully had her. And that's exactly what you can see see on the screen a woman who's built an entire persona as both armor and an art form. And she wears it as naturally as she wears everything else, which is to say completely and without any apology. She also mentioned Daphne Guinness as an inspiration, which tracks perfectly. If you don't know who Daphne Guinness is, look her up as homework. I read an interview O'Hara did with the Wall Street Journal where she talks about two women she knew who would change their wigs mid-evening at dinner, twice in one night. She framed it as a testament to insecurity, trying something, seeing how it lands, and then retreating to make changes. And I don't know, I'm not entirely sure I agree with that read. Maybe it's just living in the moment. Maybe it's just being so comfortable with yourself that you can try on a different version mid-scene and not care what anyone else thinks. Either way, let this be a personal message to me that I can throw a look together, decide whether it's working or not, and change mid-dinner, because who cares? You do you, Linda. Essentially, that's exactly what Moira Rose's entire wardrobe's doing. It's kind of a character study in someone who refuses to let circumstances dictate this self-expression. The Roses have lost their money, home, status, friends, they're living in a motel in a town that doesn't even know what to do with them, and Moira is still in Alexander McQueen, still in Marnie, still in statement jewelry that could probably double as installation art. Is it denial? Absolutely. Is it also kind of most psychologically healthy response to catastrophic loss? Now starting with, naturally, Alexander McQueen in season 6 episode 9 Rebound. Silhouettes play a solid constant over at McQueen's and also Moira Rose's wardrobe. Now this gorgeous bodycon dress in black and white jacquard knit pattern is such a statement. Beautifully done. It really does look like pearls are sewn onto this. It's from 2020, so again, pre-loved market people, but a jacquard knit dress by Alexander McQueen is easily over £2,000, depending on the sleeve length, skirt length, all those things. That said, these were more Sarah Barton, Lee Alexander McQueen's creations. Sean McGurr is currently running a different shop. Next up is this 2011 long sleeve print dress by Sparrow, which was Alexander McQueen's more affordable streety brand. It's been suspended for many years now. You can still find them in outlet stores on a pre-loved market, but they're definitely not coming up with new stuff. Great dress though. Season 5 episode 3 brings this fabulous skirt by Marnie. I often mention Marnie as underrated, underappreciated, so there you go. Marnie and their neoprene skirt with embellished burbs. How cute! Combo of sequins and embroidery, that looks fab, and although I am not a big frill fan, I kind of appreciate the style. I'm gonna guesstimate the original retail price at $500, but pre-loved shouldn't be more than $150. Although, who knows, maybe Moira Rose fame hyped up the price tag, I don't know. I did look for the top she's wearing with this scalloped ruffle collar and long sleeve. I couldn't find the exact thing, but that shouldn't be very difficult to substitute. Sleepwear. I personally do not treat nighttime as a fabulous event, but I wonder if I do, would my unfortunate sleeping patterns and behaviors change? I love a science project. This ensemble extraordinaire silk PJ set is from Lily Silk. Now, unsure if this is UK and Ireland specific, but if you are on the fashion YouTubies around or slightly before the unfortunate disease events that led to the country lockdowns up and down, on and off, you'd have to endure giving thanks to amazing sponsor Lily Silk. I don't have a personal experience with the brand. I know set sponsored YouTubers were extremely happy, if you get me, but maybe I need to get me a pair. I do know sleeping in silk is meant to be absolutely everything, if Kris Jenner taught me one thing. Long sleeve PJs by Lily Silk are around £200–220. There are other options, shorts or short sleeves. They also do ready to wear and a bit more. So have a browse if you fancy and let me know about the quality. I personally am partial to Chelsea Peers, but that's only probably to have my ideas about the brand crushed. Coming right up. When it comes to suits, I love a suit. I own many and I am always keen to get more. I think I've been conditioned to do so. I wear them to work and sometimes just to feel good. I am a suit enthusiast, borderline propagandist. let's have a look at Moira's selection. Suit from season 4, episode 6 is this casual suit by Zara. Some say it's PJs, but we can totally make it work. Lovely printed cranes on black canvas and white and pink rose gold print. The jacket with a sash belt and culottes. Culottes are essentially just big trousers that end above or mid ankles, which is not my personal favorite type of a trouser or trouser length, but the combo looks really, really good. A new printed covered suit thingy by Zara goes for around £90, which on one hand is extremely reasonable option for work, I think, but kind of crazy where Zara got. And it is encouraging to see Zara paying attention to circle fashion. Arguably baby steps, but I guess I'll have to take it. Suit from season 5 is this gorgeous large gingham print. In one of my previous videos, all about the summer bags, I think, I mentioned a brand I feel is perpetually underrated, and here we got Altuzarra. We're gonna have to make a fashionably short about Altuzarra because their story is really nice. So this gingham suit, Fenice, will blend, unfortunately, but looking at the Fenice blazer and trousers combo, that suit could be totaling around £2,000, but on sale you can get to around half of that. And I'm telling you, thrifting is good for you, for your soul, and for your life. Suit from season 6 sports one of my favorite patterns, houndstooth. This enlarged digital houndstooth suit is stunning, and from a brand that is on the show at least one more time, probably a lot more. Name's D Squared, and in the other scene David wears crew neck that says Icon, which is from their early collections. Nowadays, D Squared can be overdone because they keep adding to the company logo, but I get it, the icon spiel was just way better then. D Squared is an interesting brand. They're Canadian and a very hit or miss for me. They covered quite a spectrum of fashion choices. I do like their denim, some of their dresses as well. Suits depend on fabric or color or pattern, which is just a standard procedure for any brand and suit shopping. So check them out. They're quite creative, and it's one of those brands that can help develop your own style and fashion personality. This suit, can't find the price tag for the love of God, but their new suits nowadays are about £1,600 sterling and upwards, but they do go into sale, so don't worry, it really depends on what you're looking for and when you're looking for it, and you know, all the good things. It's been too long since we've mentioned Alexander McQueen, I agree. Lovely, lovely mini dress with lots of frill. I would not be able to rock this, but Moira / Catherine, she looks stunning. Wearing a black long sleeve top underneath a sort of second skin, making it look a bit more daytime rather than cocktail dress, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Original retail price was almost £2,500 sterling, pre-loved market. A few more dresses and then we can move on, promise? This Lanvin dress from season 3, episode 7. An autumn-winter 2012 ready-to-wear collection. Quite lovely print, make these violet flowers look like an imprint, and it retailed around £1,500. I feel like Lanvin is also underrated these days, but maybe they're just not. I kind of forget about Lanvin. Season 6, episode 13 starts spreading the news, features this fun skirt. It's a Cynthia Rowley skirt called Vera, and the feathers are ostrich. I hope it's faux. Mostly for the ostrich sake. Massive part of Moira's looks was her statement jewelry, shoes and bags of course. And listen, colors, playing with makeup, statement accessories, it's all coming back, people. We are slowly coming out of that beige and warm-toned pink, and we're getting some endorphins into our lives. It is time to heal. So starting with the bags, the classic of the classics, Stella McCartney's Falabella. I heard this bag is still very much popular in the United States, I mean good for them. The Falabella is an absolute staple. You can find it in many shapes and colors and fabrics. It also heavily penetrated the pre-loved market. One thing to be aware of, probably the obvious chain. It is quite heavy and it's probably not for carrying your lunch, drinks, bottles, snacks, book or two and keys to the castle, but for more casual wear, it is so great. To be fair, I'd probably have a Falabella if I didn't have beef with bare metals. And again, this bag makes an appearance more than once. Who did invent that notion that an outfit can only be worn once and then we just move on? Sex and the City, I'm looking at you, and most of those outfits were not even that great. Some of the necklaces scare me a little, but I'm usually impressed people can pull them off quite effortlessly. More is Moira, so there you go. And we know from Twitter, formerly known as Twitter, now hopefully cancelled soonish, that this headpiece is from Etsy and made entirely from zip ties. Crafty people are amazing sometimes. Wrapping up, I do want to say I've read all about the Pamela Roland gown for the Kraus premiere, or the white McQueen gown and the tall Pope's hat and the golden Comfort shoes for the wedding. Stunning, all of it. But what I kept coming back to, what actually got me, was the day-to-day. The suits, the neoprene skirt with the embroidered burbs, the silken pajamas worn with absolute full commitment. Moira Rose in her completely unapologetic daily wardrobe in a motel in the middle of nowhere is a reminder that the antidote to that is not dressing more appropriately. It's knowing you, it's knowing your own style, and it's knowing what you like, that it goes with you wherever you end up, even Schitt's Creek. Which brings me to another uniquely self woman, Alexis Claire Rose. If Moira is armor, Alexis is instinct. Where her mother's style is introduced as deliberate, every piece is a choice, every accessory is a statement, Alexis kind of just exists in her own clothes, sort of effortlessly, infuriatingly, and that is the beauty of having a personality and a personal style. Not just banking on a Birkin to carry you, your outfit, and your ability to make a conversation. That is a lot to ask of a bag. She's been everywhere, done everything, dated them, got the t-shirt, and her wardrobe looks exactly like that. It's the boho chic of someone who picked up the dress in Mykonos, a ring at market in Santa Fe, and somehow it all just works because she's never once questioned whether it would. I think I'm gonna sneeze. And here's the thing about Alexis that I find genuinely fascinating from a style perspective. She's the character who changes the most over the course of the show. Not just emotionally, as she grows from someone who's never had to be accountable for anything into someone who actually builds a life, but visually. The clothes, they shift with her. Quite subtly, but they really do. And the boho framework stays because that's who she is. It gets a little more grounded as she does. The costume design is doing very quiet work there, and it just makes my heart warm. That lady also inspires me to make one impulsive decision a month, or more accurately, to make a decision without catastrophizing it for 9 months first. And this video is a great testament to how poorly I'm acting on that advice. I personally don't know if I could confidently wear Alexis's clothes, and I want to be clear that this does not stop me from building entire online shopping baskets full of those clothes and then abandoning them like 2000s shopping mall. It's a process. Starting with shoes, Season 1, Episode 1, sandals on heels. I love these, and if you do too, or you decide to go online and get yourself a pair, do me a solid and size up. Don't be like a 19-year-old Linda that got these, and well, regret doesn't even begin to explain the feelings that were happening when I took these off. These are Aldo Gradosa sandals. Aldo shoes are reasonably priced. They're just cosplaying a high-end brand. These can't be more than what, 80, 100 pounds? Also great shape. Is that taupe? Beige? Pre-loved shoes and getting them disinfected, cleaned, conditioned. My favorite thing to do, get into that. I will one day open my own cutlery. However, you don't be embarrassed to thrift shoes. You can clean them yourself, and some leather conditioner will go a long way. Again, I love the pieces that make appearance more than one time, as it should be. These suede fringe booties are Zara. Those will be around 50, 60 pounds sterling. It's crazy that Zara is now up there. More heeled booties, or ankle boots if you prefer, in Season 3, Episode 3. These are Chloe from 2014, black lace-up ankle block heel booties with sort of great textured belts. If you're looking them up, put that into Google. Difficult to say how much these would cost nowadays. My guess is around £1,000. Chloe changed designers a couple of times, so. Speaking of heeled booties, peep toe tall boots. I will die on that hill. any day of the year. I don't care if people think feet are gross or peep toes are gross or whatever. I'll happily chair that fan club, host quarterly meetings, I'll fight the good fight. Season 1, episode 1 and 8, Akita Hales, lace up in leopard print, fabulous. My guesstimate for that price tag is around £600. When it comes to this scene, and this might be a controversial opinion, I don't think the shoes are the problem. When it comes to dressing up for community service, roadside litter pickup, walking on platforms is way easier than stilettos. You've got a lot more stability. What would absolutely kill me is the hair not, away from your face, not in a ponytail, and long sleeves in that weather. It doesn't look like it's lower 20th Celsius, seriously. Anyway, the brand is called Lindsay, and they've got a whole selection of heeled sandals, and you can score some decent sales too. Also, shop responsibly. Only get as much as you can pull off. More heeled sandals represented by Gucci here. Brown leather and python ankle strap, gorgeous. Difficult to talk about the price, and Gucci is definitely not about those these days with Demna over there. They still have got some of the classic platform sandals, which are, depending on the heel height, around £700-900 more or less. I think I found these on Vestiaire the other day. I think I took a screen grab. Let me look these up if they're any similar. I am absolutely here for these golden pumps with a lacing problem, or their government name, gold braided woven Napa leather tie-up pumps by Mr. Tom Ford. Tom Ford pumps prices differ, so for comparison, these sandals are from current Tom Ford online shop, $1,290 or close to £1,000 sterling. That feels like a reasonable amount of shoes to go through. Let's move on to clothes and accessories. Funnily enough, it was really tricky for me to pick just a few outfits because almost everything had that, oh wow, she looks fantastic, I couldn't pull that off, factor or effect to me. Tassel earrings come and go, and if they're currently being sold at H&M or Zara or TK or TJ Maxx, check that out. Try Etsy with a reverse image search first, because those dropshippers. This stunning hat is from a brand called Little Doe, or Little Doe is Love, and if you're looking for it, unfortunately that brand has since closed down. In season 1, episode 1, this absolutely stunning white skirt. I personally am a sucker for white. There is very little I wouldn't do for some good white frock. This is a Jeremy Lang skirt. He is a Canadian designer who's very much into tailoring and geometry and draping and layering, and I wish I knew what he's up to these days. Extremely cute crew neck, or jumper if you prefer, by J. Crew from season 1, episode 4, and then again seen on season 3. I have very mixed feelings about J. Crew. If the price tag were about half, I could understand that. Remember when we talked about Another Stories? Probably the same box for me, but I might just say that because I recently thrifted a super cute J. Crew jacket for about £15. Alexis's full running outfit, capri leggings, top and a jacket comes as set from MPG or MPG Sport, which is a Canadian brand with what looks like an extremely strong ESG strategy and science-based target, which I am all about. Lots happening over there, seasonal sales included, so check them out if you're on the prowl for some new gym fit gear wear. This slightly weirdo dress in stunning green is from Acne Studios, whom I can't really enjoy as I'm still recovering from that campaign with Kylie Jenner. But they do have some really nice stuff. Acne Studios is a Swedish brand founded in the 90s. The name was derived from the creative collective ACNE, initially an acronym for Associated Computer Nerd Enterprises, and later a backronym for Ambition to Create Novel Expressions. Big on streetwear, big on general weirdo vibes. If this is your first time learning about Acne Studios, check them out. Maybe they're not working with Kylie Jenner anymore. Let's talk about this stunning shirt dress with a pattern ruffled skirt. Asymmetric flare happening there. Really gorgeous. It came out of the fashion works of Self-Portrait, and let's have a little teaching moment. Self-Portrait is oftentimes mentioned as a UK brand, but I think it's worth mentioning that the brand was established by Han Chong, who was born in Malaysia and came to UK in 2003 to study in Central St. Martin's. Just as Sean McGurn, Lee Alexander McQueen, Simone Rocha, Stella McCartney, Phoebe Philo, Mary Caranzo, and many, many others. What's notorious for self-portrait and hanchong is the azalea dress, which is this stunning cut-out lace fabric in beautiful colors. I think this dress really made major waves, but let's not digress too much from Schitt's Creek fashions here. White scallop shorts. Love white, love shorts. For some reason, I do really like scallop hemlines, so here we are in season 1, episode 10 by Club Monaco, another Canadian founded company. Good selection of clothes. To be fair, when it comes to sports gear, I always wait for mid-season sales if I can. I love that snazzy PJs are now a topic of conversation for the second time. I can always make it a topic, but now it's part of a self-care movement as well. It's not just silky smooth bedding. Do some wind down breathing exercises, question mark, get you a face mask. Now it's also slip into silky jammies. And here we are back with Lily Silk. Not gonna lie, I might just get a pair of silk jammies out. I am waiting for my other pair of jammies to fall apart so I can get an excuse, but maybe I don't need an excuse. White Lily Silk set with golden cuffs, regional retail price around £200 sterling, which is still a somewhat accurate price tag for a long sleeve Lily Silk trouser set. However, sales, get into it, my friends. The earth-shattering golden dress that Alexis wore to the Kraus premiere in season 6, episode 5 from the designer garage of One Saint Laurent. It looks like liquid gold and $1 million. Absolutely stunning. I saw it on some pre-love site for around £1,400. I would guess that the original retail price was well over 3,000 then. I'm an absolute slut for golden dresses. We need to move on before I start looking one up. That said, I will absolutely be hunting this one down for myself. Moving on to this other golden dress that appears in episode 9 of season 6. This one is playing with mesh and sequins, or is it embellished? It looks very intricate. It is made by Topshop, so we're looking at a price tag around 100 or even under. But I'm guessing we're working with synthetic and blends here. Staying on the topic of stunning dresses, I wish I could pull off a strapless number this effortlessly. I don't feel too comfortable with like not much here and a lot of here. So anyway, beautiful dress from season 4. Merry Christmas, Johnny Rose. Love me a Christmas episode. Black metallic velvet dress by Lanvin. Gorgeous. It's always pre-loved sites. Slightly over £2,000. Lanvin produces stunning pieces, and a dress of, this caliber would retail over 4,000, I think. Alexander McQueen cold shoulder metallic chiffon mini dress. Now this is a dress that is 100% McQueen and 0% Linda Kay. I don't love polka dots, I love gold, I don't love ruffles or cheer dresses. I'm not world's biggest fan of floral prints. I like about 25% of them. 9 out of 10 I wouldn't wear this, but also I love it. So there's a lot to unpack with a fashion therapist. And to bring it to close, otherwise we're gonna be here forever, this gorgeous knit sweater from the episode Happy Ending is by Isabel Morant and apparently called Farron. We really need to get into off-season shopping. Let's go shopping in January, February and June, July. Get some off-season pieces from last collections with some serious markdown. Shout out to Marc Jacobs. Always. One thing I keep coming back to with Alexis's wardrobe is that it never feels like it's trying to be aspirational. Moira is sort of aspirational by design. It's meant to remind everyone, including herself, of who she was. Alexis just is. She threw it on. She's already thinking about something else. And that particular brand of effortlessness is, ironically, the hardest thing to actually replicate, because the moment you try, it stops working. Mr. Johnny Rose.
Here's the thing you should know about my dad. Sweetest little guy, gives the worst gifts.
Previously wealthy CEO of North America's second largest video rental chain, Rose Video. Husband to Moira, father to David and Alexis, a man who attended Hebrew school, plays golf, appreciates good wine, knows a thing or two about tax write-off, and is the obvious, slightly disregarded leader of the family that absolutely refuses to be led. He's the one holding everything together in a household that runs entirely on chaos, drama, and Moira's schedule. And somehow nobody quite clocks how much work that actually is. Johnny is the most grounded person in the Rose family by a significant margin, and his wardrobes reflects exactly that. No drama, no obvious statements, just impeccably tailored suits, pocket squares, ties, the occasional cocktail ring, the uniform of a man who built something, lost it, and is absolutely not going to stop dressing like he's about to get it back. One that actually knows how things work, who's closest to the real world of all of them, and who just can't stop being a businessman. That's the daily insistence that he's still that person, still capable, still the one who understands how write-offs actually work, even when everything around him is very much not working. Now, identifying the exact suits from screen grabs is genuinely difficult. A dark grey suit is a dark grey suit under film lighting. So what I've done is put together a selection of suits that could be Johnny Rose's, but also some extra. And as always, if you can go for 100% pure fabric. Here Johnny wears a two-piece, and I'm not gonna guess the set lighting, I can barely tell, but I'd say it's a dark grey. The film set light might sort of be this brutal to a black suit. So we're gonna start here, black or dark grey suits with a top pocket. Checking out one of the OGs, Hugo Boss. Now Hugo and Boss. Hugo is the cheaper version and meant to attract younger, which is a code for less affluent audience. If you are interested in details, I do love that red Hugo patch that they do on a sleeve, very sort of off-white. I'm very much into that. The suits, many are a blend fabric, and I'm trying to avoid that nowadays. There are some suits that are slim fit, but I'd say that Johnny is wearing a regular fit, albeit taken in and tailored. Have you lot heard about Brioni? Because nothing says established business human like a super 160 Brioni. Brioni is another OG of tailoring, and Brioni have been in tailoring since 1945. They are almost exclusively men's tailors. They have a few ready-to-wear pieces in women's wear, and you can get an appointment at their La Donna atelier, but that's pretty much it. Here are what they call Brioni legends, as they feature them on their website. That's some good tailoring. You may also have heard about them as they dressed Pierce Brosnan for all his Bond movies since GoldenEye, and I hear they also dressed Daniel Craig for Casino Royale, which is just rad. On the other hand of the spectrum, Donald Trump has a penchant on them as well, so there is that. A lot of Brioni foolery. It is not uncommon to get over 4,000 for just the off-the-rack suit from Brioni. And then there is always their bespoke. Why did I say Super 160 and are you now cursed? Glad you asked. No, but I do hope Donald Trump is. Super 160 wool is essentially the top quality wool you can get for suits. The fabric is so fine and so smooth and so unbelievable, and so is the price tag. Check out Brioni's website if you're into grand class tailoring, and get 4,770 pounds sterling coins if you fancy that Super 160 off the rack. Super 210 is almost double that. Zegna, Italian luxury brand founded in 1910. I'd say one of those brands for those in the know, kinda sorta, for those who are into quiet luxury. If you want to own more things that not many seek out, check out Zegna. Another classic of tailoring, Brunello Cucinelli, another Italian, in the classic Prince of Wales look. Stunning grey suit, and they generally create such good pieces for women and men alike. And I think they're not underestimated, but they're definitely not. They're not talked about enough. That's it. For the modest price of £3,950 sterling, 1,000 for trousers. Paul Smith, a British designer who opened his own shop, Paul Smith Vêtements pour Hommes, in 1970s and been growing ever since. Does loads of things. Here we are looking at this, albeit three-piece, but still stunning suit in a Super 100s wool. Paul Smith is also always on sale somewhere. Ivory cream, taupe, buff, sand, khaki tan, champagne beige, all the colors. Johnny Rose isn't really seen wearing many of those colors. I would love them for summer in linen, gorgeous. You will find suits at Valentino, Gucci, all the major brands. And there are some lovely pieces, you know, double and single breasted, but it really always depends on who's currently designing for their house and what's their personal style about. If you're looking for a little bit more of a personality, you can look at Simone Rocha or Charles Jeffrey Loverboy, Tom Brown, and many others. And I don't always want to be talking about Alexander McQueen, but Sean McGurr has been creating some amazing amazing suits. And there's always Mr. Ralph Lauren, RIP. I love Ralph Lauren, but it's sort of a mixed feelings. I'm really disappointed because both Purple Label and Polo dips into blends really quickly, and you don't fool me with better cotton. I could not care less about your offsetting. How about we try to do some real good and not pretend good? So if shopping online or offline actually, just make sure you read all the descriptions of the product details. And if you're shopping in the boutique, ask a lot of questions. That is what the sales associates are there for. Do not compromise. All right, end of announcement. Mr. Tom Ford, he always knows how to suit up self and others. Look at this tidy satin suit, gorgeous. And if you can get a velvet suit by Tom Ford, why wouldn't you? Don't let the almost £6,000 price tag stop you. Absolutely unbelievable. Tagliatore is an Italian family-owned business. It's newish in the grand scheme of things, launched in 1999, but the history in business has been there before. They do really amazing tailoring. They have enter by appointment only or through stockists, but they are available online. They fly a lot cheaper too. You can get a full suit from about £700, but their bespoke tailoring will inevitably be a lot more. When it comes to pinstripe suits are always, they feel just a bit more suity. It feels like you're a little bit more into it when you commit to a pinstripe suit, for daily wear especially. I don't see them that often. I try to find a good blue pinstripe suit. I landed on Etro website. I somehow always end up on Etro's website. I really enjoy them. Have you given them a go? Their classic paisley print, my god, they are a lot of fun. They do a lot of stunning prints. It's fabulous. It is massively underrated. I try to talk about them as much as I can. Look, the price is £15.70 sterling for the jacket, half of that for trousers. That's a decent price for a pure wool suit that has a little bit more personality. Actually, that has a lot more personality. See, I told you to give Etro a go. And finally, David Rose.
Came with the bike. I think you should put it on. I think you should actually put the helmet on.
Co-created and played by Dan Levy, son of Eugene Levy, who plays Johnny, and yes, they created this whole thing together as a family, which I find enormously charming and gave me a nudge as the head of our family, and I came up with an idea for our own family business. No one will thank me because it's gonna be a lot of work, but it will be worth it. David might be just the most visually specific character of the show, which is saying something given that his mother exists and is also in the room. Where Moira's style's theatrical and Alexis is sort of instinctive, David's is armor of completely different kind. It is not about wealth or status or holding onto an identity. It's about having an aesthetic so locked in, so completely and unapologetically of his own, that it became sports field. A lot of black and white, a lot of considered layering, a lot of jumpers, crew necks with prints or texts that are doing about 50% of that comedic heavy lifting in any given scene, which sounds like a joke, but is actually back to that masterclass in costume as character voice. What I find very interesting about David's wardrobe is that it's the result of actually doing the work, figuring out what works for you. There's no reliance on obvious branding to do that heavy lifting, no logo to announce him before he walks in. It's genuine engagement with fashion as a personal language, which is true of every character in this show, and honestly the whole thesis probably of Schitt's Creek costume design. Nobody here is hiding behind a brand. They are all in their own completely unhinged ways wearing exactly who they are, which is rarer than it sounds, on screen or off of it. David has his own genuine taste, the kind that comes from actually caring about things rather than just being able to afford them. The brands that show up in David's wardrobe are a massive mix. Rick Owens, Givenchy, Acne Studios, McQueen, D-Squared, Kenzo, Amiri, Valentino, Dries Van Noten, many others. And these labels, they're all with a point of view. Brands that attract people who think about fashion as an expression. David Rose doesn't wear logos to signal wealth, which again is the whole character in a single wardrobe choice. Rick Owens, whom I love and who is quite prominently worn by David. I love all that. And an oversized hoodie, Hasten handprint. A print of a hand, that is, by Dries Van Noten. Hopefully stands out to all the System of a Down fans over here. These two sweaters, one striped and one polka dotted, which I find quite cute when you put them next to each other. Mohair dotted hoodie by Random Identities, and then Breton Crew sweater by All Saints. All Saints is a British brand. This Love Me Tender by Opening Ceremony. Black jumper with lace up detail by Diesel. Diesel makes cool as heck clothes. It's pretty streety, but with a flair of personality too. And this lightning bolt jumper by Neil Barrett. I love Neil Barrett, which now reminds me I should go back to that Triada video and make part 2. Anyway, future Linda's problem. This lightning bolt crewneck, you can find it on a pre-loved market as t-shirts or crewnecks. I saw it in an op shop when I was in Japan and I almost bought it, but it was the wrong size and then I hated myself, and now I'm kind of glad that I didn't buy it because I wouldn't have worn it as much as I should. Anyway, and David wears a fair share of Vans and Converse shoes on TV. And if I am in charge, it would be low top Converse. Might look like Chuck Taylors, but they're actually Rick Owens. Rick Owens and Converse have released or have been releasing funky looking shoes. If you just don't want to get a standard looking Converse or the Comme des Garçons Converse, get a Rick Owens Converse. I think David's fashion got really popular because my fellow aging millennials love a good black outfit and a cute or sarcastic print and Converse shoes. So it's a great combo. David's wedding suit is Thom Browne and so is the shirt. And David's wedding suit being Thom Browne is so perfectly right. Thom Browne does something very specific. It takes language of classic tailoring and it makes it slightly surreal, slightly oversized in some places and then undersized in others. It's very formal but without being conventional, which is exactly what that wedding needed to be. And the fact that Dan Levy then wore a Thom Browne look to the Emmys in 2020, which was 6 years ago. Anyway, Dan Levy wearing the full Thom Browne suit to the Emmys was a very David Rose thing to do. Life imitating art, imitating a very good suit. And that's the Rose family. Moira in her McQueen and her wigs and her complete refusal to let circumstances touch her aesthetics. Alexis in her boho everything, unbothered, already thinking about what's next. Johnny in his impeccable suits, holding the whole thing together. And David in his black and white, wearing his entire personality on his sleeve. Schitt's Creek is genuinely one of the best examples of costume design being used as storytelling rather than decor. Nobody is dressed to signal well, they are dressed to tell you exactly who these people are, what they're holding on to, what they're afraid of, and occasionally what they're in denial about. I'm glad we have all of it. I'm going to have to stop this here and continue this in another part if it ever comes to it. And if you made it to the end of this one, thank you kindly. Thank you for putting up with me. It's 2026. I know that you know what to do with the subscribe, like, and leave a comment thingy. I've had fun putting this together because you know me. I'm always going to be here talking about fashion, whether anyone asked or not. Anyway, see you in the next one. Bye!
See ya!